pam. Pam 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 pam. Toodaloo, 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 toodaloo. आज भुगतान का गणित नहीं गठित करो को पूरा के लिए कई बार ऊपर भी सकाले व नीचे सो जा पर हूँ नहीं कई बार सोचित हूँ भुगतान तो करना ही हूँ फिर सोचता हूँ करता हूँ हाँ ओके पूजा पाठ जो करो सो वह पूजा से आगे के रास्ते बनते हो जाता है
ನಮಸ್ತೆ
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ
ವಣಕ್ಕಂ
ಶಮದಿ
ಸಲಾಂ ಅಲೈಕುಂ
ಸತ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಅಕಾಲ್
ಈಗ అందరికి వందనములు
जय स्वामीनारायण
जय श्री कृष्ण
जिनेंद्र
मैं स्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोलते स्माइल करते हुए निसम याली मदद मलाली मदद कहते हुए हमें सारे फीजन भाई बंधुओं को बोलेंगे निसम बोला
हम आगे बोले से नाम के प्यारे भाई बाकी तरह वैसे फालतू बाबा
मैं सहा की क्यूट सी फालतू रानी
नॉट
और आप सबकी फेवरेट इंटर्न प्राची
वेरी गुड प्राची जी कैसे हैं आप वेलकम टू द शो टुडे मंडे का दिन है आई होप यू आर टोटली गॉट द मंडे ब्लूज
यस
व्हाट
यस
हमारे शो पे मंडे ब्लूज हो नहीं सकता
I mean no of course not
oh my god just save my goodness very bad save though फालतू नहीं आज मिस्ट्री मंडेस में क्या होने वाला है
वेल आपने हमारा प्रोमो देखा होगा बनिजन एंड अगर आपने हमारा प्रोमो देखा है तो आपको समझ में आएगा प्राची का फेस इतना ब्लू क्यों है क्योंकि उसने आज बहुत दिमाग चलाया एक नोट पढ़ने में जो वो नोट्स वो डायरी के लिखे हुए हाथ से लिखे हुए किसी के हाथ से लिखे हुए नोट्स जो शायद एक्सप्लेन कर सके कि कुछ लोगों के मौत के बारे में एक नहीं दो नहीं इट वाज नॉट 1 नॉट 2 नॉट 3 नॉट 4 नॉट 5 not even 10 but 11 people in one family a whole household that died
just like that
not in any not in any like natural disaster or anything but in one unnatural event
yep
Hey, which today we don't know whether it's unnatural or natural event also. You never know.
क्या?
If
कैसे
you say
हो सकता है?
There's no way it could be a natural.
hello, excuse me, it can be natural, right? Something nature oriented, right?
How?
Why not? Today that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Tonight, Bandajan,
Tonight.
it's not on the mystery files of the Pam Pam show. It is the Burari files.
Yeah.
That's
किसी
what
का
we're
बुरा
going
मत सुनो, बुरा मत बोलो, लेकिन बुरारी के बारे में डेफिनेटली बोलो.
सोचो.
सोचो.
क्योंकि बुरारी फैमिली एक ऐसी फैमिली है बंदूजान जहाँ पे किसी को कोई समझ I mean even पुलिस भी चकमा खा गई, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they were actually, yeah, even the police were stunned.
And that is the story we're presenting to you today, Bandajan. वो mystery है. She has some idea about the mystery today, is what Miss Meenakshi tells us from Boston.
Huh?
Altuphaltu.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. She says she has an idea about this particular mystery.
She does.
How, Meenakshi ji?
Please do tell.
Please do tell. Please share.
Yes.
We'd love to hear from you. आज आपको कॉल करके हमारे साथ यहाँ पे वार्तालाप करना है. The number to call us is 408-832-8881. Altu Baba, is
Yes.
that the number for us to be receiving phone calls?
Definitely, Faltwani. Why not?
Okay.
We will receive phone call on that number as well.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 408-832-8881. Burari family. Let us go to our intern and let us have her give us a quick,
Rundown.
not rundown. We don't need a rundown. We need just a quick
Okay.
preview of what exactly this mystery is about.
So, as we all know, this case follows a family that there was a joint family, 3 generations living under one roof, and it was actually I think 5 years ago, and 10 of them were found they were hanged, and then one was apparently strangled. And the age range between these 11 members ranged from 77 to as young as 15. It was so all 11 of them, and this was said to by the police, the deaths were ruled as motivated by a shared delusion or psychosis. And the main, I guess, person we could focus on is one of the sons. His name was Lalit, and he was he owned he owned a business. He ran a grocery shop and a plywood business, and he was very his family was seen as very nice, very well-natured. They never had any disagreements with their neighbors or anything, and so randomly just one morning, so the people around them, they realized that one day they didn't open up shop in time. And that's when people were curious, because they had a set time. They would open up their shop by 5:30 in the morning. And all the neighbors knew about this. But when they didn't open, one day, one of the neighbors went and tried to see what happened. And that's when they found a series of each family member just hung to death in their own house. And why they could not tell at the time, but that's basically a short synopsis of why, what happened. And I guess the reason that kind of ticked this whole thing off was actually Lalit's father. His name was Bhopal Singh, who died of natural causes, and that event kind of sent Lalit into I guess a shock per se, because he kind of went silent, radio silent, and he just wouldn't speak. And then one day he spoke, and he claimed that he was possessed by his father's soul. Yeah, and
ठीक है.
yeah.
So, Banjan, आपको तो पता चल गया होगा अब तक. This particular story is about, it actually garnered a lot of attention because बहुत सारे लोगों की imagination capture कर दी इसने, क्योंकि because everybody was trying to figure out. Sometimes some things are so unfathomable and seem so unreasonable कि जितना भी आप try करो, you can't wrap your head around how this happened or how this came about. It's not one, not two, but an entire family that is that's found hung to death. Entire family, okay, is hung to death.
Except one though. One was strangled.
Yeah, one was strangled, but there is another supposition for that as well, that she actually was hung to death and then laid down on the bed, supposedly.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know if she was hung to death or not.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, the mystery is the fact that there's no signs of forced entry into the house. There is no signs of any kind of resistance from any family member. And I don't think they found any in the talk screens. They didn't find anything in their system, did they? Which they didn't find anything in the system.
No, and like no hints of burglary either, because all of them had, like, some of them, the ladies of the family, they had jewelry on and things like that. So it's not like.
Here's the thing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually go a little bit deeper into this thing. Some of you might know about this, some of you might not know. I didn't know about this until we started researching about this case. Talking about all the mysterious things happening in the world. So there are multiple things which are taking place here. We'll talk about all these things, and this, of course, is famously known as the Burari mass murder case, mass suicide case. It's not murder because they finally concluded that it actually was a case of mass psychosis. Now, we're not going to go into that part of it, because I'll tell you what actually really is getting us irked over here and why we think it's mysterious. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But I think what we have to definitely do is talk about some of the surrounding facts behind it, right? So this happened out of the blue at a certain time, right, of the day, which is pretty much, a setting. Let's first do one thing. Let's talk about the family members in the whole thing. So you want to talk about the family members, Faltani, who are the people involved in the whole family as such?
Right. So it starts with the matriarch. Bhopal Singh के बारे में already हम प्राची जी ने बता दिया था. Bhopal Singh was the patriarch of this family who died supposedly of natural causes.
Yes.
And तो इनके गुजर जाने के बाद उनके घर में थे उनके दो बड़े बेटे, मतलब
पत्नी भी थी.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
तो उनकी जो पत्नी थी उनका नाम है
Narayani Devi.
Narayani Devi was the name of the lady. She was a family matriarch and 77 years की थी वो. And of course उनके जो बड़े बेटे थे भावेश, भुवेश or भावेश, what was it?
That was Bhuvnesh.
Well, I see some places it says Bhave, some places it says Bhuvnesh. I am trying to figure out, let me get the actual.
See.
Yeah, so Bhuvnesh Singh उनके बड़े बेटे थे, and his wife, who was his wife?
His wife was let's see, Saviti. Savita, sorry.
Savita was his wife.
Okay.
Yes.
And then of course they had children. There was Savita, and then of course the children were Neetu, who was a 25-year-old older daughter of Bhuvnesh.
Then there was
Monu, who was actually Menaka, but her name was called she was called Monu.
Yes.
And she was a younger daughter of Bhuvnesh. And then of course there was Dushyant, who was aka as Dhruv. He was the only son and the youngest child of Bhuvnesh. And then came this gentleman of the person of interest, so to speak, in this case, called Lalit. And Lalit was the younger son of Narayani Devi and Bhopal Singh. इनकी जो बीवी थी, her name was Tina, and she was 42 years old at the time. Lalit was 45 years old in 2018. And Tina was the youngest daughter-in-law, obviously. And उनका कोई बेटा था, हाँ, Shivam, the only son, the only child of Lalit and Tina.
Yeah.
And there was also one more daughter that lived in the house. Her name was Pratibha Devi, and she was the widowed daughter of Narayani Devi. That is दो भाई एक बहन और उनके respective spouses जो जिंदा थे उनके साथ उनके बच्चे भी, and प्रतिभा देवी का भी उनकी बेटी थी प्रियंका करके जो 33 साल की थी. She was 33 years old, and Priyanka was gainfully employed and was actually going to be getting married. In fact उन्होंने अपने जेवरात के लिए भी shopping की थी. Just previously, just the night before this incident occurred. So one says that that this is suicide, one says it's murder, some people suspect paranormal phenomena. We don't know what exactly happened, but we'll try to go through the timeline today and go over the details for you. So Aldwa, ये कब हुआ? Exact dates बताओ हमारे बंदों को.
Exact dates: July 1st, 2018, around 7:15 a.m. The neighbors of Gurcharan Singh, neighbor named Gurcharan Singh, who used to go on morning walks with one of the deceased people in the family, he went to the Chundavat's residence.
Yes.
He had noticed Lalit Chundavat's absence for the morning walk, as well as the fact that the Chundavats for shops were still not open, right? Which shops are nearly open. So he is a person who first reported that they actually gone over. He went and found out this particular thing has happened, right? Somewhere between. Generally, they open the shops between 5 and 5:30, I believe. So Gurcharan Singh found the door of the house open, and then and the 10 people, including Lalit Chundavat, right? They were hanging from the grill in the house.
Yeah.
He raised an alert by calling other neighbors as well. The police received the call around 7:30 a.m. when he called. So technically, by the time the death had happened. So none of them were alive, right? So by the time they found, everybody was were hanging from the ceiling, right? This is a whole group of people hanging from the ceiling. This is some gory pictures. I don't know if I can show them, but I'll definitely show. Not about I'll just show you the grill where they're hanging from.
Image, I think.
The grill which they're hanging from, I can show that thing for sure. Where all the 10 members were hanging from the ceiling. Now, why I say 10, but why we talk about 11 people who actually were died that day, right? So happens that one of the bodies of the elderly woman, who was also called as Bebe, they call them Bebe, was in a different room on the floor. And with signs of strangulation, as per the postmortem, because the postmortem exam for the bodies, there were no. Incidentally, the way they found the bodies also is interesting. People should note. Okay, now, if people were to generally, the cases where people commit suicide, right? So they hang themselves. Right? Typically, your hands will be free. You'll be like, you have to put the noose around your head. You have to put your noose around the head, right?
Yeah.
And then you would just, whatever you have down, you fall down and be like free flowing and trying to struggle. That's one thing. If something is forced, if somebody's forcefully trying to get you to hang you, there'll be struggle. Signs of struggle will definitely be there. Some nakhun ka is karoch, or some kind of blue thing where somebody's getting bruised or whatever, right? None of that was there.
No
right?
resistance.
No resistance. And also postmortem also revealed that there was no use of any kind of toxic or narcotics or anything which actually would have got them unconscious to be going to a shock when they go into the when they hang. So kind of that's one thing baffling. Okay. Now the state that bodies were found also is interesting. All the bodies, faces were covered. Right, with the eyes were bound, ears in the they were blindfolded. They were blindfolded totally. The ears had cotton in them, and there was something stuffed in their mouth as well. And one more thing, one more thing interesting.
Oh yeah.
Their hands were bound behind the back
with zip ties, and so were their feet.
Not everybody.
No,
not everybody.
2 people did not. Their hands and feet were open. Only Tina and Lalit.
No, Lalit's hands and feet were also bound.
Oh.
Only Tina and the mother, the grandma.
The baby whose body was.
She was laying on the bed.
She was laying on the bed.
So here's the thing. So now, this is the scenario what happened as on July 1st. Now, why we're doing in July, I don't know. We just came up to us as a concept, and we got it done. So it's pretty timely to talk about it. It's been like 5 years. 5 years since this happened. They did close the case or something else, right? But we're going to talk more about it. Okay, so now this is the scenario of Altuphaltu. This is how I'm just saying this way they found it, right? Now, furthermore,
and this happened in the country's capital city,
Delhi.
Bandujan. This is in Delhi. Go ahead.
No, go on.
So this जो 11 members का death हुआ, this actually apparently rings eerily close to the deaths of 9 people in one family that was in Maharashtra's Sangli district. Apparently police said that the same exact thing, it was like a suicide pact, that they were the suicide was committed in the houses of 2 brothers who were located, but in that case they were 1.5 kilometers apart, the brothers' houses, but all of them were found the exact same way. As many as 6 bodies were recovered from the first house and 3 from the other.
So that's
but
also a mass suicide.
Yeah, it's also a mass suicide, and they're saying that this Burari death case it reminds people of this other case that happened.
So initially the police really thought initially it was a case of a serial killer.
Murder, yeah.
A serial murder, because it seems to be very similar to what happened in Maharashtra, like how we said, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But this case is interesting. I'm just showing you an image of a particular, the scene where they recovered the bodies were hanging from, the grill inside the house where they're hanging from. If you notice it, they actually are in a certain pattern. Now, why I talked about pattern is because going forward, there's also other discoveries which talked about it, which actually says why it could be something else. Now, after they first ruled out the question of a serial killer because there was no forced entry into the house, there
They
was
left the front door open.
the front door was open. There was nothing taken. And surprisingly, I think Meenakshi actually posted something about the fact there's something on the platform that talked about this case.
Yes.
And their documentaries also talked about the evidence which was shared there and how sometimes they were trying to find a scientific explanation to it. Now, I have a different thought on this.
Okay.
Some people also talked about it, right? The fact that this could be this. Why are they discounting paranormal activity here? Now, why could it be paranormal activity? Do you want to share, Faltani? What is the other evidence they found on the site, the booklet?
So one of the key things that they found were there were 11 deaths, 11 people, and 11 diaries that were found in that house.
Yeah.
So one of the and the diaries have very detailed accounts of how the suicide should be committed or how people should die, and rumor has it, or basically outlined in that diary, जैसे इन्होंने बताया, प्राची ने बताया कि the person of interest is Lalit in this case. Now, क्या हुआ था जब ये जो मिस्टर भोपाल सिंह गुजर गए, उसके बाद फैमिली पे बहुत बाधाएं आई.
Yes.
Whatever the issues were, they were going through a lot of struggles. Apparently, they had a business and everything. Something has happened where all of a sudden this Lalit brother, something went awry. We don't know what exactly. There's not much detail, but people say all of a sudden one day there was some writing in a book, and Lalit claims this was the room in which the father used to be, or puja room or whatever, right? And wahan se he apparently the spirit of the the deceased Bhopal Singh came into Lalit and had him write. Apparently it would dictate and have Lalit would made him write, or he dictated whatever that he was.
Yeah.
This is the way it is supposed to be done.
And this also is an account in the book. So how did where did he tell? Who did he tell? No, he didn't tell anybody outsiders.
Yeah.
It is written in the book because there are 11 books.
Yeah.
11 diaries.
11 diaries written over a period of 11 days, 11 years.
11 years.
11 years.
11 years.
I think, yeah.
Something in that effect. But the thing is, they analyzed the handwritings of it, and one report says there were 2 handwritings,
Yeah.
which were that of women,
Yes.
and one says the
yeah.
book which they found most information about was with the Lalit's handwriting.
Yeah.
So dad dies 10 years prior to this. So 2008?
Yeah.
2008, something like that. So basically the 10 years, every year, there has been some kind of book which has been followed
Yeah.
for the next 10 years, where the whole scheme has been planned out to the T. Now, in our promo, you actually saw us trying to read out.
We
Well,
tried.
okay, so we did try. So we're not language experts. We don't follow much of it, but still,
We're not handwriting.
there are some cases where you found this particular writing of from the diary or notebook. We don't know if it's a diary or not, but written in some kind of way. And what kind of tells you is the rituals are being mentioned in this.
Yeah.
Certain rituals, right? So, Father, do you want to go further in detail about the rituals?
So let me tell you in terms of timeline also, right? ये जो ललित जी हैं अपने आप को बहुत तोप समझते थे. In what sense? We are talking about. Should we take a caller before we go to this?
Sure. Probably they're calling us, say that it's getting very eerie for us, scary for us, and all. Hello, namaskar, Deepa ji, कैसे हैं आप? Welcome.
Pam 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 pa 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 pa
वेलकम दीपा जी, बताइए. डर लग रहा है?
अरे अच्छा लग रहा है. एंड ये केस मुझे पता है, इसीलिए मैंने कॉल किया. तुम लोगों ने जो लास्ट मंडे को कवर किया था वो पता ही नहीं था मुझे.
Oh, really?
Oh.
हाँ.
क्या आप ट्रैवल करते हो? You didn't come at all, ना?
शुरू से नहीं सुनाई तो पता ही नहीं चलता ना बाद में.
ओह, एग्जैक्टली. आप कैसे कर?
खोपड़ी में नहीं जाता.
हाँ, क्योंकि आप हमें नजरअंदाज कर देते हो ना.
ठीक है, अभी विषय से मत भटको. क्या
विषय से मत भटको, आगे बढ़ो. हाँ.
हाँ. तो
कहीं नहीं भटक रहे. अरे कहीं नहीं भटक रहे. भटके हुए तो ये लोग थे जो केस की तुम लोग बात कर रहे हो. सच्ची में it has a documentary on Netflix, I think.
Yes, it does.
I'm not sure.
Yes,
I'm
it
sure.
does.
I'm sure.
Yeah. तो मैंने पूरा वो देखा डॉक्यूमेंट्री. Oh my God.
हाँ.
It is really very scary.
Okay.
And the amount of क्या बोलते हैं, like I don't know, there's some kind of blind faith they have.
They had,
and they followed somebody's instructions, the whole family.
You know, that's exactly this. See, Father, I'm not alone in this. Even she feels that way, because it seems to be there is some kind of paranormal activity over here, okay, which has driven them to do certain things.
So here's the thing.
पैरानॉर्मल नहीं है आलतू बाबा.
अच्छा, नॉर्मल बोल रहे हैं आप बोल रहे नॉर्मल है.
नहीं, some living, somebody was guiding them.
नहीं, somebody के आप
तुम लोग
नहीं. So here's the thing, right? There's something called the power of suggestion, right? A lot of people are easily very suggestible. And ये जो ललित जी हैं, this is what there's a lot of क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीज़ें बुक्स में लिखी गई हैं, लेकिन वो ऐसे लिखी गई हैं जैसे ये जो भोपाल सिंह हैं वो आके ललित जी के थ्रू फैमिली को कम्युनिकेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. बट द ट्रूथ ऑफ द मैटर इज, और वॉट एवर हैज कम आउट, स्पेकुलेशन इज वाज राइफ इन दिस केस कि जब डिग करने की कोशिश की क्या हो सकता है, राइट? बट इवन द नेटफ्लिक्स डॉक्यूमेंट्री डिडंट रियली गो delve deeper into that. The family was going through a lot of trouble. And they had been ever since the patriarch died, ever since that Bhopal Singh died, and I think he died somewhere in 2005. And for 10 years, over 10 years, lots of things went wrong. I think, उनका business का ये हुआ. फिर this Lalit guy apparently had an accident.
फालतू रानी.
बोलो.
हाँ, फालतू रानी. लेकिन उसके बाद ये जो इंसिडेंट हुआ ना, वो देखो घर में मतलब लॉस प्रॉफिट ये हर घर की कहानी रहती है ना. बट it was like it's more of he was not a stable man, that Lalit.
That is what I was coming to. So that's what I was.
नहीं, तुमने बताया ना कि प्रॉब्लम
नहीं
बाद में सब ठीक हो गया था बेचारे. like there was a marriage, upcoming marriage, and they were all busy preparing for that. A happy event होने वाला था घर में.
Correct.
हाँ.
तो लेकिन ये ललित की बीवी टीना और उनकी जो भुवनेश, दिस इज ऑल स्पेकुलेशन फ्रॉम अदर members, people who have been, they've really not shared a lot of their family stories outside. Apparently इनके बीच बहुत झगड़ा होता था, नारायणी देवी और जो बहुएं हैं, बहुओं के बीच बहुत झगड़ा होता था. And even this guy Lalit, apparently something happened. They didn't go into detail at all. There was something that happened in his business where he kind of came under a lot of fire. And उस time क्या हो गया था, people thought that he is having some kind of a psychological breakdown because he stopped talking. But there is some other reports that come out and according to Times of India, उन्होंने investigate करके दिखा कि Lalit had supposedly gotten injured and couldn't talk, and even when he would communicate with customers, जो उसके customers होते थे, उनके साथ भी handwrite करके बताता था. He wouldn't talk to these people. Yeah, he wouldn't say anything to them. And then this in 2015 he started writing these diaries or he started writing these diaries saying that the father's soul, because nobody would listen to anybody. This is what the speculation was. Nobody would listen to anybody in the house because after Bhopal Singh passing and Bhuvnesh, Lalit did not want to. This is one neighbor, I think they talked about, where the neighbor said that Lalit wouldn't listen to Bhuvnesh or something like that. There was a lot of ego clashes happening between the brothers. So Lalit used that father's name
to his advantage.
Allegedly. So again,
allegedly, we don't know.
Whatever you guys are
we
saying,
don't
my
know.
point is it's a mystery,
And
right?
there is a theory they mentioned even in the series that in between उनको बात करना शुरू हो गया, like after
See,
some
again, let me
treatment,
tell
after
you.
few
Yes,
years,
he does.
but
He
he
does.
never he didn't talk
So
in front of people, but he could talk privately.
Deepa, I want to
Something
share
like
one thing. Always, whenever you come and tell me about series, they're putting in their version of
Perspective.
it.
Even we are putting our perspective.
We
right?
too are putting our perspective out
Yeah.
there. So what I'm trying to say is, reality could be totally different, could be stranger than even what we are coming up with,
Yeah.
right?
Huh.
But my point is just to challenge the particular thought, like whatever you heard is hearsay. Whether they got back or whatever, now they want to find somebody, they want to they want to pin somebody on a thing, you want to pin it on somebody over there. Lalit mil gaya, well, a little bit although Lalit was a person who was mad, psychotic fellow, right?
Yeah.
नहीं,
For him to have
नहीं,
influence.
आलतू बाबा वो series यानी sorry, my bad, series is not the word. It is documentary. It is
Okay,
not series.
doesn't matter. No matter what documentary, it is the storytelling is told in somebody's perspective,
Correct.
Yeah.
right? And they have to definitely, they can't leave it hanging.
No.
Right.
So the series, actually, the documentary, what they had was trying to showcase the fact they wanted to bring awareness to mental health.
Right.
Awareness
Yeah.
to mental health issues, and that's what they tried to find, because the conclusion of the case was that Lalit was a psychotic person.
No, they actually tried to make it seem like a shared psychosis, which is very, very, very
Group
it's very
psychosis.
Yeah, but if that is
it's
so,
very
let me
far-fetched according to me.
may I
delusion.
counter this?
Yeah.
So the thing is, when you say there's a hearsay of the fact there was some unbond between the family, the point of shared psychosis will not come, because if at all somebody buys into the concept of
Correct.
the other person, is when you actually have a shared psychosis, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Automatically it's out the window.
Yeah.
Right? And now if they say, okay, he could not talk, only wrote by letters, so it's fine. But how come they were written by multiple people? The letters were the books written by multiple people, and the content was pretty much the same, right?
No, the books were not written by multiple people.
No.
They say there is one account that says all that was written by Lalit, and then there's another account two books which were written by the granddaughters.
Priyanka and
Granddaughter,
Neetu.
yes.
Yeah.
और
Which-
वो एक और ललित पे नहीं डाला उन्होंने. At the end, they did leave it hanging because it is it is not solved properly. क्योंकि everybody is saying their version.
Correct.
क्योंकि सब ऐसे information अभी भी निकल रहा है वो. Every now and then they keep posting or submitting some kind of research documentation.
Because I have a
And,
feeling-
some other guy, outside guy. ये भी एक मानना है. One perspective is like some property, some other guy, outside guy रहते हैं ना, like I don't want to say it, like they follow a certain person, some guru, some kind of a thing.
Mantrawadi,
And he
yes.
was,
Doesn't matter, you can say it. That's what I'm trying to allude to the fact that there's some occult interference here, because
Yeah.
two things which evidence-wise you looked at when we were just novices like us, saw through the whole thing. There was something which came to my attention. Okay, Now, first of all of them willingly doing it. Okay,
Yeah.
and instructions. There were instructions to what they were there. Did you know about the instructions, Deepaji?
Yes. I mean, yeah, they did, and they all went and prepared. ऐसा नहीं है कि खलबली नहीं मची थी. They were all peacefully doing it. That is what is like. I'm getting goosebumps. I mean, how can
No, exactly. The point is, there were specific instructions, step-by-step instructions, which I'm trying to share on screen right
Yeah.
now. What's supposed to be done? यहाँ तक कि एक
मैं
यहाँ पे,
रखती हूँ,
हाँ,
okay.
no
It's
problem.
very interesting.
I know.
Listen.
Yeah,
Okay,
sit close to Gopal. Okay, feel safe. Hey, safety, safety. Come on. Alright, good to have.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And of
you.
course, but the thing is, so what she's talking about, what we're talking about, is the fact that possibilities are different. Also, could something, because what's really mysterious for us is why instructions of bebe sabko roti khilayegi,
Yeah, that was the thing.
and they ordered roti.
They ordered like 20 rotis at night and no sabzi, like nothing to accompany.
So the
with
story
it.
was corroborated, or whatever was written in the book was corroborated by the shopkeeper who was said he got an order. The order was delivered to their house
at like 10:30 p.m.
10:40 p.m.
Yeah,
right?
10:40.
And one more thing is 11 o'clock tak
Yeah.
जो लड़की की शादी होने वाली थी वो अपने दोस्तों के साथ बातें कर रही थी कि अभी उसको वेडिंग शॉपिंग करने के लिए जाना
Yeah,
है.
she has to do wedding
So
shopping.
there has been a point of sometime we're going to do it, right? Now the also is a part of the instructions. I've shared some instructions there, so what's supposed to be done, right? ये instructions आप पढ़ोगे ना, there are 10 instructions are given on there specifically, right, which talks about the detail as to how they got to do, right? Do you want to read them out, or I can read it if you, or you can read it out, yeah?
Okay, sure. The first one is पत्तियां अच्छे से बांधनी है.
पट्टियाँ
पट्टियाँ.
is bandages on the eyes.
या पट्टियां अच्छी से बांधनी है. शून्य के अलावा कुछ नहीं दिखना चाहिए.
So otherwise total darkness, nothing should be seen.
Nothing should be seen.
Yeah.
रस्सी
के
के
साथ
साथ what is it?
Sutti chunariya. So
Sutti
cotton
chunariya.
chunis. Cotton chunis.
Scarves, I guess.
Chuni is yeah.
या साड़ी की
साड़ी का प्रयोग करना
साड़ी
है.
का प्रयोग करना है.
Yeah, that's what this is instruction, okay? So
have to
so
tie
it's been
bandages.
told to tie close your eyes totally, tie it up, okay?
Blindfold yourself.
Yeah. And well, here's the thing, ritual is part of it. So the second part is the ritual.
Yeah.
7 दिन बद पूजा लगातार करनी है. 7 दिन बद पूजा. There's something to do with
7 days of puja.
Yeah, so Bad Puja also is was something which, that's why they actually suspected black magic here.
Yeah.
Because there is something called a Bad thing where it is trying to sacrifice people like the banyan tree.
Yeah.
And it's believed that people will come back. That's the Bad.
Yes.
It's called Bad Puja. So they've been asked to do this Bad Puja lagatar for 7 days. But they also talked about the fact that if somebody comes home, you have to stop it and you got to do the next day for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
मतलब बोल रहे हैं कोई घर में आए जाए तो अगले दिन you have to do it is what they say, right?
Yeah, you can't continue the process on the same day.
Correct.
You'll have to stop and do it the next day.
Start
And it
again.
has to be at the intersection of what? Dusk and dawn or something
I
like
Yes,
that.
it
think
has
so,
to
yeah.
happen गुरुवार या शनिवार को. They got to choose a date. Thursday or
Thursday or
Saturday is supposed to be
Saturday.
chosen.
Yes.
Right, go continue.
That's the ones that I see.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's coming up. Here you go.
And then after that it says बेबे खड़ी नहीं हो सकती है तो अलग कमरे में लेट सकती है. So yeah, she can't stand, hence why she should lie down. And then the last it says सबकी सोच एक जैसे होनी चाहिए, पहले से ज़्यादा दृढ़ता से ये करती है, तुम्हारे आगे की काम दृढ़ता से शुरू होंगे.
मीनिंग ये जितनी
should be in
दृढ़ता
sync.
से आप ये काम करोगे उतनी ही दृढ़ता से आपके आगे वाले काम तमाम होगी. मतलब what I feel, okay, this is just my very layman perspective. ये जो ललित जी थे जो लिखते थे और जो बुलवाते थे कि उनके पापा से आ रहा है ये सभी. There are instances in the initial few books that were being written about things such as कि बड़ी जो बहू है वो बहुत लड़ाकू है, प्रियंका बहुत ज़बान लड़ाती है, प्रियंका मांगलिक है, जो मतलब एंड प्रतिभा जो बेटी थी उस फैमिली में, वो उसकी जो बेटी है उसकी वजह से, क्योंकि इसकी शादी नहीं हो रही है, उसकी वजह से इनके काम में बाधा आ रही है, मतलब इन देयर बिजनेस इज नॉट डूइंग वेल. लोगों को ललित और टीना जो ललित की वाइफ है टीना, इनको कुछ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. ललित और टीना बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं, इसीलिए उन्होंने ललित को चुना ये बातें बोलने के लिए. एंड सभी को ललित और टीना की तरह रहना चाहिए, सभी को चुपचाप उनकी बातें सुननी चाहिए, क्योंकि यही भोपाल सिंह की आत्मा की इच्छा है. और यहाँ तक बोलते थे क्यों टीना, क्योंकि टीना के जो पापा हैं, टीना's mom or dad, one of them also had passed away, and उनकी आत्मा along with 2 or 3 other deceased souls from there are all stuck apparently, and all of them needed them to make this ultimate sacrifice or ritual because initially it started with that they should listen to Lalit continuously. ये जो बद्ध पूजा या जो भी है लास्ट में when it culminated in this, that just started over the over the previous in the last stages. And I think he didn't write it, he had the
Priyanka and Neetu,
he had them write out what he was saying. So it doesn't seem like he's the one who's writing what needs to be done.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So basically there could be something which is happening over here. So let's continue the rituals. There are 5 more steps there which is mentioned.
So step number 6 is मध्यम रोशनी का प्रयोग करना है. So use
dim light.
Dim light, yes.
To preferably not use bright lights, but dim lights to be in the thing, right?
हाथों की पट्टियां बच जाए तो उसे आँखों पे डबल कर लेना.
हाँ, ये भोपाल सिंह बोल रहे हैं.
And then number 8, मुंह की पट्टी को भी रुमाल से डबल कर लेना. अच्छा. नंबर 9, जितनी दृढ़ता और श्रद्धा दिखाओगे उतना ही उचित फल मिलेगा.
And last but not least, it talks about the time. It talks about the time. 12 से 1 बजे
के बीच
सब कुछ कार्य करना चाहिए.
You should do everything between 12 and 1 in the morning.
And उसके पहले वो हवन भी करना चाहिए.
Yes, just before that they're supposed to perform a havan as well, is what is mentioned in that.
That's
right.
Wild.
So it kind of tells you something over here. It can't be. There's something to do with some kind of tantric or some mantra. Something's happened
black
here.
Magic.
Some vashikaran हुआ है, कुछ तो हुआ है.
Something, yeah.
Some devil is coming to the place. Right?
Yeah.
You know one more thing interesting about the whole thing?
What?
घर का जो एक सदस्य है, वहाँ पे 12 सोल नहीं थे. Oh, sorry, 11 नहीं थे, 12 सोल थे वहाँ पे. There were 12 living beings in the house.
Oh yeah.
Only 11 died.
There was one survivor.
One survivor
who is possibly the only witness to anything that happened.
Would be the eyewitness of anything what happened.
But
But of course, unfortunately, जो eyewitness था,
that was the dog.
The dog was
Tommy.
Mukha Prani.
And he was actually muzzled and chained onto the terrace.
So basically what has happened is, muzzled matlab, the dog could not bark.
He couldn't bark.
Yeah. So this you should think about it. Why? घर के लोगों पे वो bark क्यों करेगा?
Exactly, yeah.
My point is this. Yes, we all know dogs have a sensory thing. They can actually see paranormal activity. It's been proven beyond the doubt that they actually can see the spectrum of which we cannot see, right? Spectral beings, they can watch, they can see. Or they sense, in other words. So obviously it was there is a I think, I don't know if I should show the photograph. Can I show the photograph?
Yeah, sure.
They actually is when they went upstairs to see it, terrace mein, which on looks. You guys saw the
jali.
The जो जाल जहाँ से वो टंग रहे थे ना, the mesh where all the so-called the pattiya were hanging, from which they were hanging. This one.
Yes. So you guys saw the thing. Now this is where you can see the dog. I've not put it up on the screen as yet, but here's the thing. This is the dog, right?
Yeah.
And if you notice, the dog has been chained. How do I say chained? I can actually zoom out a little bit and I can show it to you guys.
Yeah.
So
It's chained to like
on a very short leash.
very.
It's and the dog became sick,
When the police found him, he actually had a fever.
and apparently the dog was convulsing.
Oh.
Matlab, the
Oh.
dog was convulsing when they found the dog, and they took him to a recovery shelter for recovering, and that dog was completely shaken up, and the dog was convulsing apparently, and he almost collapsed.
Oh my.
Because he had a fever, he was vomiting, and it was almost like seizures for the dog.
correct. So basically, the dog was in the terrace.
Yeah.
In the state what you're seeing right now, उसके मुंह पे पट्टी बांधी हुई थी, उसको चेन किया गया था, short leash था उसके ऊपर. He could not have barked at something, or the neighbors would have known about it, right?
Yeah.
And this ये जिनका जो क्रिया जो है, as per instruction, even the postmortem report talks about the death happening somewhere in the wee hours of the morning, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
In that range, 1:30 के range पे, and जैसे कि आपको मालूम है, the way they found was 7:30 को, जब उसके दोस्त जो neighbor थे, when he knocked the door opened up and he went and saw all these people hanging from the ceiling, right? So that is the thing, and this is the story as of now. But a lot of things just by the facts we were talking about when we just googled it and found information about it. डॉक्यूमेंट्री क्या दिखाया वो अलग बात है, लेकिन हम लोग जो आपको दिखा रहे थे वो जो नोट्स थे जिसके ऊपर लिखे थे एंड द इंस्ट्रक्शंस वर गिवन, डेफिनेटली आई डोंट थिंक इट कुड बी साइकोसिस, यू नो, इट कुड बी समबडी हु एक्चुअली इज
wait, there was also this books में ये भी लिखा गया है कि ये मरण नहीं है उनके लिए. That there is also वो जो हम लोग आपने अगर हमारा प्रोमो देखा है उसमें sort of we were reading that portion where it also talks about the fact that when the time is right, the soul of Bhopal Singh
Yes.
himself will come and
Free them.
will free them, will resurrect them, will bring them back from the dead. So the
Yeah.
idea was this is just for that moment that they're going to all possibly pass out or die, and then this Bhopal Singh's soul will come and will release all of them. Will bring them back to life. So that is why I mean this is what I'm conjecturing कि लोगों की इतनी
अंधविश्वास,
मतलब if all of them, if they've been planning a wedding till the last minute, I mean कुछ तो लोगों को पता चला होगा, right? You'd be afraid if you actually see the ladies preparing. There's some video shots where they show closed circuit camera में दिखाया गया है
ladies.
हाँ,
The
तो
ladies of the household.
where they have they're carrying 5 stools and they're bringing it to the
Stools, yeah.
to stand on and hang. Only 5 stools, 10 people who have to hang and die. So they are saying that the first 5 people were hung to death, and then the next 5. And Lalit was possibly, in terms of the order of death, Lalit was probably the last but one to go. And after him, उनके भी हाथ बंधे हुए थे, उनके भी क्या कहते हैं, पैर बंधे हुए थे with zip ties, and the last one to die was possibly Tina, because hers were the only ones where the hands were not bound,
Yes.
which means she probably bound her husband's thing, and then she tried to end her
life.
she ended her life.
Their life, yeah.
So one wonders how is it that there was no form of resistance whatsoever. Why would this entire family decide
To
that
just-
we're just going to up and go?
Yeah.
So there's one more very interesting thing. I'm going to share a photograph of the house
Huh,
जहाँ पे वो रहते थे, right? So they supposedly had a certain kind of business.
huh.
Do you remember what business they had? They had a business
They
of
had a
Pipes.
no, they had a business
Plywood.
business where they used to do things. So
and just
now,
a shop.
interesting thing is what people are not able to recognize is I'm sharing a photograph on the screen right now, guys. Please pay attention. Right side में है. This is the back entrance, back side of the house.
Huh.
where there are pipes randomly going out of the house.
Yes.
Now, some people say this is something which was actually the whole issue with the whole house, where they tried to make it so the souls can go out to those particular places.
And there are 11 of them.
There are
too.
11 of them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the shocking part of it. But what was it for? Ventilation? Some people say, oh, they had a plywood business, so they would have polish which comes in the house. They wanted ventilation to go.
Huh.
Why the pipes?
Yeah, why pipes?
Now, that's what people have been really curious about, the protruding pipes out of the house. They were, like how you rightly said, there were supposedly 10 or 11 of them actually,
Yeah.
in a very awkward order, right?
Yeah.
And also we don't know what the whole thing is. Yeah, there have been instances where construction when they're trying to do drainage stuff in our Indian thing, they don't plan well and suddenly end up having multiple places, right?
Yeah.
But ये ऐसा भी नहीं है कि कहीं पाइप कहाँ से बाहर से आ रही है कुछ हो रही है.
Yeah.
So it seems to be in a very awkward position where they are, but it is definitely there. So we don't know what the whole purpose was, but this is also something which people have thought that this could also be something to do with the occult science or whatever happened with the something to do with paranormal stuff, right? That's what I also feel, it's paranormal thing. But definitely Lalit का जो मैं photo दिखा आपको, he and his wife have people who they claim they're pinning the whole thing on, right? But then again, all of them following them, really?
Yeah, that's a little sus.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how can you convince 9 other members of your family to just up and leave?
Right.
Yep. So again, people have a lot of speculations have gone on this. There's a lot of people talking about the possibility of some external entity coming in, an entity as in a person trying to do this. There was no conclusive evidence as to what it was, apart from the fact they just said, okay, it's something to do with the psychosis of the person. But still, it is really baffling for psychiatrists as well, because people who are emotionally very unstable, they are prone to enter into suicide pacts for sure, yes. But it didn't seem that all the people over there were that way.
No.
And of course, if you look at the spectrum of the age group,
Yeah.
15 to 77 years old, right?
That's a huge
Every
age range.
person has a different emotional status.
Oh, yeah.
The young person to the middle age to the old person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there will be people who will have, so if it were to be all same age group, hum umar ke log honge na, if same age group, probably they'll just buy into it and say, okay, they subscribe to same values and cultures. But yahan pe there was a wide range, right? That's what baffling people. Also, number 11 in this case is rather overwhelming for committing such acts. They've never had this kind of situation before, right?
Yeah.
That's what's a little baffling even for the experts, psychiatrists or all the investigators for the matter, right? Because there is definitely a need, what they say, there was a need for something called a psychological autopsy. Ames suggested that they can actually do a psychological autopsy, but I don't think it was ever went through. Actually, psychology would be interacting with the victim's relatives, friends, and acquaintances to see if there was any pattern. So it's not about taking the body into autopsy, but actually having the permission to talk to everybody else around the whole place, surrounding, to find out about this. If there's any something which influenced them through practices, there's a lot of books, occult books available everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you never know, they might have been influenced by those also, right? But I don't think it ever happened. Ames did suggest that there be some kind of psychological autopsy done of the whole situation in the case. It did not proceed any further from there.
लेकिन there are 2 survivors of this particular tragedy, बंदजान. इस family के 2 बंदे alive हैं आज भी. एक सबसे बड़ा बेटा जो who is, I think his name is Dinesh Singh Chundawat.
Were they living together?
No, they were living separate. They were both away. Dinesh Singh Chundawat was away, and so was the sister. There is also his sister, who is Sujata. Her name is Sujata, and she also was away. They survived the tragedy, they're saying, is because they were away. And Dinesh Singh Chundawat's thing is, he basically trashed the reports on the mass suicide. He says this has got nothing, and he also went to the extent of saying that Lalit's handwriting was very bad. This is not Lalit who has written it. It is the media and the police that have made this like this kind of a case. Yeah, there were those diaries, but it is not. It does not look like my brother's handwriting, and they're making it they're sensationalizing the story. Instead of doing their job to find out what exactly happened, they're actually rubbishing. I mean, they're basically saying that this was some kind of an occult thing that these people followed, and this is what that they all were trying to connect with my father. So he says, I'm the oldest son, would my father's soul not talk to me?
So my question to that is, if he claims that it wasn't Lalit's handwriting, then whose was it?
He basically says this was not my brother. My brother's handwriting was virtually indecipherable. He says that वो बहुत गंदा लिखता था. It was very poor handwriting, and when the police showed me, I told them this is not my brother's writing. And apparently, the writing, by the way, is not that it's not indecipherable. The writing is pretty clear in what has been written. And he says, I was the oldest in the family, yet I was completely unaware of my youngest brother allegedly being in touch with my father's soul. He says he didn't have any clue about any of this, that his father's soul was in contact with his brother. And how was it possible that neither his mother, nor his sister, nor his brothers, nor his nieces, nor his nephews, nobody would take him into confidence and let him know that? He says, how is it that I don't know? Nobody told me, not even one of them told me about it. And he also says that that apparently Lalit, the fact that Priyanka was 33 years old and she hadn't gotten married, and because she was a Manglik, and Lalit apparently said during those books, wo books mein likha hai ki because they are listening to Bhopal Singh's instructions through Lalit, Priyanka finally got engaged.
Oh wow! Miracles,
so that's
small
how
miracles.
He convinced them that things are working. So you listen to me, everything will work. Listen to me because I am the soul that's telling you what to do, and that's what happened. So he says, my daughter is also Manglik. This is what he said. Wouldn't I have also been told to connect with my father's soul?
This is Bhubanesh, is it? No,
this is Dinesh.
So there was
Dinesh
a brother.
Is older than Bhavnesh.
So there's so there's Dinesh, Bhuvnesh, Lalit, Pratibha.
Yeah, and his name
Pratibha.
Yeah.
And apparently he also said the names floating around in the media are also wrong. It's not Bhuvnesh, it's Bhavnesh. Is what he says. Please, and he apparently told them that apparently the whole family was very excited that Priyanka is getting married. Everybody was preparing for the wedding and eagerly looking forward to it. And then apparently he started sobbing and crying when he was talking to the reporter on the phone.
That'd be so hard.
He says, basically he says how his other sister broke down thinking about how her sister died. And then of course because he even says that's when they brought out CCTV footage, right?
Yes.
Because these people they've gone for a morning walk. Pratibha and Priyanka, they've gone for a,
shopping.
They've gone shopping. Everything is normal, like a normal day.
Yeah.
So he's like, you can't just say, okay, this is what it is. So by the way, her name was Narayani nahi tha. The elderly lady's name was Narayan Kanwar. Dinesh Singh Chundawat's mother, and that is Narayan Kanwar. And the names are supposedly Savita Chundawat, Tina Chundawat, Pratibha, Priyanka, Nidhi Kanwar.
Nidhi?
Yeah, Monica Kanwar, and nephews Dushyant Singh Chundawat and Dhirendra Singh Chundawat. These are the names. He says, at least when you're writing about us, when the media is doing this coverage, at least get our names right.
Yeah, that's the least they could do.
That is what he said, and this was 4 days after. I think this happened on July 1st, right?
Yeah.
So July 5th there was an update that was posted, and this was actually with National Herald India that this interview happened. And I don't know how many, I don't think they showed, in the Netflix documentary, I don't think they showed the brothers' version of it. as to what the older brother
No, I
said.
don't think so.
Yeah. So, to an extent, well, if it is, I don't know how many of you believe in the dark, what do you call that? The dark, black magic
Black
or
magic.
Dark occult arts. But could be some people, there was a hint to that
Yeah.
in what the documentary, somebody talked about that. And we kind of wanted to see.
If they
Altu Baba says it could be that.
if they were doing that, wouldn't they have like some sort of like a setup? Because generally, when you think of those types of dark occult stuff and like tantric black magic stuff, there's always like a little shrine or something.
Yeah, but I don't think they even viewed in that aspect, right? So it doesn't have to be a shrine. So the thing is, when it happens remotely also, right?
Yeah.
And they did do some rituals.
Yeah.
There wasn't a need for a havan. They could have
Okay.
cleaned all that up and done something else, because once
Okay.
you have somebody's senses in place, right? So there have been accounts of people when they are in a trance.
Yeah.
They don't know anything what they're doing. They will do
Correct.
all the activities what they're doing. When they snap out of a trance is when they realize what's happening. So
Yeah.
once you're in a trance, you could actually clean up all the stuff, because there's, as per the book, supposed to run a havan, right?
Yeah.
And as per the book, somebody's supposed to come back after a day or two, and then come back and give them salvation, right?
Yeah.
So whatever they were in, to have all these people, I don't know, were they sleeping when they carried them? I don't think so. If you immediately wake up with the kind of packing they've done on them, there was something to put them in a trance,
Yeah.
for them to follow through what was going on, right? And it's about capturing the souls, right? The
Yeah.
souls. There was reason for the pipes. We don't know why the pipes are there. I don't know if the brother actually told why the pipes are in the house.
Yeah.
There was something to do that, right? Because there are different ways you can do things. You have to have a way inside. And why was a dog tied up?
Yeah.
Dog. Yeah.
Why didn't the dog be hanged also?
Yeah.
Huh?
If you had to like hang everybody in the household,
You would even kill the
You
dog.
would already. Yeah.
But no, why was the dog's mouth tied?
Muzzled. He was muzzled.
Why was he
yeah.
muzzled? Why was
Yeah.
he? There was no muzzle, but they actually tied it. Like, it's very bad when they do it. It's painful for dogs also. You should never do that, by the way. But they did it for the dog, right? So
Yeah.
this all gets you wondering and thinking about it. Why? How come the brother was spared?
He was in a different state. I
He
think
wasn't
so.
there.
Yeah, but why was he spared? Why was only in that house?
Yeah.
There could be something in the house also people have not explored, right? There could be some entity in the house which is making them do that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not only the fact that it has to be with the occult science, all about making the tantra, mantra, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It could also be that there could be a negative energy in the house which got them to do stuff, right? That also is possible. They might have come into something. Supposedly, this guy Lalit also was one of the interviews. Some of the people, friends, talked about the fact that this guy was into Reiki and things like that.
Yeah.
He was interested in all these spiritual things and all that stuff, right? You
Okay.
never know
Yeah.
what. And why should there be rituals like this? Is the question,
That
Right.
too.
right? And supposedly. Have you heard of this thing which people do this as fun nowadays? And many movies made on that. The Ouija? Ouija?
Ouija board.
Ouija board.
Ouija boards.
Ouija
yes.
boards.
Yeah.
So supposedly, one of the friends talked about the fact that Lalit organized a meeting with the father, with the family.
Through a Ouija board?
I don't know Ouija board, but just no. What I'm saying is that they have tried to reach into. So one thing is that
okay.
if you read about witchcrafts and everything, right, about paganism, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There are energies out there.
Yeah.
The problem with Ouija board is the fact that you don't know who it is. You can't ask for ID card.
Right. Yeah.
Correct.
And there are entities out there trying to amass energy.
Yeah.
So they could have actually tapped into the particular soul of some particular thing, spirit.
They could have opened a portal.
No,
you
they
never
could be.
know.
No, they could have opened a portal. Yes, I understand. But the point I'm saying is they could have invited energy which will duplicate the life of the father, which is mimicking the father's energy.
Oh, and they probably misunderstood that.
They wouldn't have
Yeah.
understood that the thing is brainwashed them, saying it's the father. I'm going to come to save you. They might have seen that,
Maybe.
including the kids. Why would otherwise? How will all of them, different age groups, agree to do what they're doing?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And there was no sign of agony. There was no sign of
Struggle,
tension. No,
nothing.
tension in the
Yeah.
family. The CC footage talks about them calmly going and picking up the stool and coming like as though nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And ordering food.
Ordering food.
Yeah.
Talking to a friend just before saying I'm going to go to the marriage, go shopping afterwards.
Here is the thing. Bhavnesh Singh got a call from his daughter. 2 calls. The last call the last communication was around 11:30 p.m. in the night.
His daughter was there in the thing?
He has had a conversation with his daughter.
Who was not in the house though?
Who's not in the house.
Okay.
So so that was the last bit of communication, and even at that time there was not the slightest clue that something like this was going to happen. So they don't know where this came from and what happened. Nobody is able to determine what happened there. One of the most mind-boggling mysteries, huh, Bandhajan? Some things sometimes are so baffling that we can't wrap our heads around it.
Yeah.
Perhaps it just gives us the humility that we don't know everything. We can only guesstimate, we can only speculate. बहुत मुश्किल है. Forensic evidence से कुछ मिला नहीं उनको. Accordingly, supposedly they didn't get any form of forced entry. There was no other fingerprints. There were no other, any वो जो क्या कहते हैं. Only on the grandma there was some resistance marks, is what they're saying.
Strangulation, because she was strangled.
Yeah, but then they say there were some marks of resistance. There wasn't like. It wasn't like the others where there was complete submission.
Marks of resistance.
So
on
probably,
grandma.
so here's the thing, here's speculation. Now,
Yeah.
the spirit which came was supposed to be the father.
Yeah.
But the mother knew it was not the father.
And she tried to warn them.
So the instruction is very clear.
Yeah.
Bebe
Has to lie down.
खड़ी नहीं हो सकती तो उसको सुला दो. लेटा के
Yeah.
बुजुर्ग लेटा दो.
Make her lie down. Yeah.
In other words,
Yeah.
do what you got to do with her, keep her aside. So probably she didn't want to be standing up. She didn't want to be things. So you never know. This is what I'm trying to say. There has been anecdotal evidence of the paranormal stepping into our physical world, right, and creating havoc. Why we have the poltergeist recorded, well recorded.
Yeah.
Poltergeist, yeah.
Poltergeist. We have the Mohinis.
Huh?
Yeah, there's a
The
female
enchantresses.
enchantresses across the globe, cross culture, universal, which do actual harm to the people, right? So it is possible, affects the mood.
There are
If you're weak
Yeah.
in the mind, it takes over immediately.
And also, a lot of people, I mean, I'm sorry, but I have to share this because I do hear a lot of people who talk about opening their chakras.
Oh, please, that's the biggest
That's
mistake.
Okay, opening your I mean, I'm not going to say whether it's a mistake or it's not a mistake. It's not my place
Okay.
to say what you're doing. But opening your chakras, first of all, it's chakras.
Chakra,
And
yes. See it right.
opening the chakras, especially the, what do you call that? What does this mean? The Kundalini. Is what?
Kundalini is down there.
Kundalini down
It's
there.
Chitta.
They say that if you open and you don't know you have not achieved that level of spiritual elevation, you're opening yourself to be, you're basically saying, I'm vulnerable, I'm a vessel, and all kinds of energy can come into me.
Well, they say, okay,
Oh
here's
my
the thing. So
God.
scientifically speaking, if you understand energy, cosmic energy is not just positive.
Yeah.
It has to have a negative. There has to be balance between the two.
Yeah.
Now, if you are an individual who is not able to manage the positive and the negative in your own thing, you will have trouble balancing the energies.
Right.
So that's where it takes over, right? It takes over, and you will start probably leaning towards activities which you should not be leaning towards.
Probably shouldn't. Yeah.
And we're not saying this is what happened in Burari's case, the family. We're talking about this particular situation where people mysteriously all this happens, right? We don't know. Could be that also. Think of it this way, and what do you got to do? First of all, if you want to balance your chakras, what do you got to do, Falturani?
I don't know, Alta Baba.
Meditate.
Yeah.
But under the guidance of a proper guru.
Yes.
Guru. Very
And
important.
there is a reason why you have Hanuman Chalisa.
Yeah.
It takes you off all the bad elements. It's not like a thing. It is a distraction from all the negative. Why do you think Hanuman Chalisa is all about praises about it is a positive affirmation which you're giving God, right?
Okay, this is not a religious show. Disclaimer.
not.
It's
It is
only
not.
for entertainment and educational purposes.
Only.
Funformational purposes only. We are not propagating any particular religion here. We'll just say that in terms of energy, the energy that manifests when you chant a certain way, and certain scriptures and certain sounds create certain vibrations in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's what Altu Baba is referring to.
Yeah, and of course, just go to a proper guru if you want to go follow a guru, or just follow your own heart if you can. And again, doesn't matter, whatever happened. It's gone, they're gone. Can't bring them back. Sad part. But then again,
but you never know. They might be born as a family somewhere else.
you never know. That's
It's
will
been
come.
5 years already, you know.
Yeah, it's
You
been
know,
5 years.
they might be 5 years old, different places,
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
back together. That
Yeah.
could be the promise. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is really one thing that we want everybody to take away from our Mystery Mondays is Banajan कि बहुत सारे ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जिसके लिए हमारे पास answers नहीं है. And जितना भी खोजो मुश्किल पड़ता है. And probably certain things are beyond the comprehension of the human mind. जितना भी हम सोचे, हम after all सिर्फ इंसान हैं. And हमें सब कुछ नहीं दिखता है. And to live in that humility, and we hope that we were able to shine a little bit of light on the Burari murders, or Burari death case, or the Burari files as we call it. We don't know if it was suicide, we don't know if it was murder, we don't know if it was what it is, but definitely their human lives are gone.
Yes.
Their physical lives are gone. And we hope that you enjoyed the show today and you got something to think about. There is, I will say 100% the media sensationalized this particular
Oh, yeah.
case.
It did, and also I would say one more thing, which even the documentary talked about. Mental health. Our community
Yes.
is very backwards in this. We don't lead a life that we used to lead some time ago. We are a collectivist culture.
Right.
Our culture is collectivist, as in it is not individualistic. We used to have looking to each other. We used to look for each other. There used to be cases where in a village, when a child is born, the child is taken care of by the village,
Right.
as everybody around the house. When we grew up also, the certain level was there because we knew our neighbor's house, we could go and stay, whatever it is, we could just walk in without announcing and everything, they take care of us. किसी को देख लिया, अरे हमारे बच्चा है, हमारे नुक्कड़ का बच्चा है, देते bring them in. आजकल वो होता नहीं है.
No.
Huh.
We are living in a very interesting situation where we are torn between our collectivist and individualistic culture.
Yeah.
When you notice these things, we tend to mask it. We don't talk about it openly. Find people you can talk to, preferably therapists. Seek help. It's okay. Nothing bad about it. There's no taboo about mental health. Is not taboo. If somebody comes and talks to me, I will listen to you. But that's me. But don't do that for everybody. Probably nobody has patience for it. Go talk to a therapist if you can. That's fine. It's okay. In America, especially if you're here, get some support. It's available and is not frowned upon. It is good, like how you have a coach when you want to get into physical fitness part of it. You go to a particular gym. We used to go to temples, but temples nowadays have become a point of making money.
I mean, in I would say in Christianity too, right? They have the church, they have church elders, they have a support system. No matter what, they have a support system for them to go and talk to the pastor, the elder,
No, when they go to church, there's church gatherings.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have every शिद्दत से एक दिन जाते हैं नमाज पढ़ने के लिए भी शिद्दत से एक बार जाते हैं. हम लोग ही हैं जिन्हें इतना छूट मिला है सनातन धर्म में कि बोला जाता है कि जो चाहे करो, हम रेस्पेक्ट करो, पर एक बार कहीं पे फेस्टिवल में आ जाओ. द पॉइंट इज फॉर अस, द पॉइंट ऑफ फेस्टिवल इज जस्ट ड्रेसिंग अप एंड गोइंग ha come back. No, it's about going there, being there for somebody else.
I'm talking about having one person to go and share with, like unfortunately in our Sanatana Dharma, I don't think at that time when there was a temple economy, they would be the head priests and the priests that you could talk to and gain advice from, the elders in the family.
They call it amatyas. There used to be the amatyas. You'll have every family would have a guru who you would actually consult with any kind of major decisions, who also would guide you in the terms of where what you have to do if at all you're stuck in a conundrum.
Correct.
Right?
लेकिन आजकल के ज़माने में वो नहीं है. And what we are encouraging you to do is, if you don't have somebody like that in your family, it is always we live in a society where there are trained psychologists. In India, there's a huge shortage of psychologists. All over India, there are only 2,000 psychologists.
Okay, hold on. Even if psychology is considered to be, अरे पागल है कि हम लोग जाने के लिए वहाँ पे? नहीं, it's not about पागलपन.
Yeah.
That's the big thing we got to tear out. Everybody have mental health issues. I have mental health issues. I also did a certain way, right? I have people I can talk to. I have some friends I can talk to who actually are from the field of psychology. So it kind of helps me to actually, vent out. Faltuni has me. She can throw all. She can use me as a punching bag. She goes put on me every time. Right. Prachi, I don't know. Prachi's fine totally. She's like awesome.
She's got amazing parents who are very supportive of her.
She's got some good friends.
And she's got us. Yeah.
Thursday is the day she loves to come to work.
Yeah, love it.
She loves it.
I vent out all my problems.
You're welcome, Prachi.
And half the questions we get over there are from her only, by the way.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, so wonderful. So thank you so much for being so patient with us. All the people joining on Facebook, Deepaji, thank you so much for that. There are a whole bunch of people on Facebook. I'm not actually told anybody. I don't know who all are there. I can't see them right now because my understood you say follow on our page. We can't see you, we can't talk to you, but of course you can send us a comment for sure. Make sure you follow and subscribe to our Facebook channel, and we also have a Threads which Faltuni has not activated for some reason. I don't know why.
We have activated. Altuphaltu is our handle.
Our Threads is Altuphaltu. We're on Threads as well, so you can see our posts on Threads. Subscribe to our posts, and कुछ नहीं होता है, आप लोगों को कुछ खर्चा नहीं होता है, subscribe कर लो यार.
Correct. तो इसी के साथ हम आपको बोलेंगे कि hope this was another mysterious Monday for you, Bandajan. Enough food for thought and things for you to chew on. And Deepaji, yes, it is heartbreaking to see the beautiful, the faces of the young kids and children. And we, wherever they are, we hope that they have found peace. That's all we can do. We can pray for their souls to rest in eternal peace. And tomorrow we'll be back with yet another Teaser Takedown Tuesday. Till then, हमें इजाजत दीजिए. Good night.
शब्बा खैर.
And प्यार भरा.
Pam 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 pam. आज भुगतान का गणित के
गणित नहीं गठित